The first light of Advent is the light of the stones, the light that shines in crystals, in seashells, and in bones. Welcome to Moonchild Blog and Sundays with Sarah. I'm Sarah Baldwin, and today is the first Sunday of Advent. Now, Advent is the season leading up in the Christian faith to Christmas, starting on the fourth Sunday before Christmas. But I think Advent is, regardless of your faith or beliefs, is a season that can be observed by everyone with universal themes. It's a season of anticipation, of waiting and looking inward, inner preparation and outer preparation, preparing your home for the holidays. The anticipation, you can think of the anticipation of waiting for the birth of a baby. Everyone can relate to that. The anticipation perhaps of light returning after these long, cold days, the long nights and the darkness of winter, and soon the sun will be returning slowly and the light will be returning. So some Advent traditions you may be familiar with. You're probably familiar with an Advent calendar like this one, which is a favorite tradition in many families this time of year, with a door for each day of the month leading up to Christmas. Children really get a lot of great joy opening the door each day, a lot of excitement, and a calendar like this one finding a new image behind each door. There are Advent calendars with Christian themes and motifs, and other ones that are just seasonal. It's always been a favorite tradition in my family. The nice thing about an Advent calendar is that it's wonderful for a child who cannot yet tell time or read a calendar, because it's very abstract for them to know how many days are left. They're so excited about this big holiday coming, and by seeing the number of doors and how many are left remaining, it gives them something more concrete, that depiction of time that they can understand. Another tradition you may be familiar with is an Advent wreath like this one, set with 4 candles, one for each of the 4 Sundays before the holiday. And one candle is lit each Sunday, and the same candle will be lit every day that week. And then next Sunday we would light 2 candles, and so forth, until the 4th candle is lit on the Sunday before Christmas. And in the Waldorf tradition, there's another element to these 4 weeks of Advent. And the 4 weeks, the 4 candles can be thought of to represent the 4 kingdoms of earth. The first one being the mineral kingdom, the second being that of the plants, the third, the animal kingdom, and lastly, the human being. So you might, if you just chose to have an Advent wreath like this one, you could also adorn it with symbols of those various kingdoms. You could put seashells and crystals on it. You might choose to put a little bits of moss along with the evergreen branches to represent the plant world. You could put little wooden animals, wooden figures. And in my class, when I taught in a Waldorf kindergarten, we would bring out an Advent wreath like this each year, and during that last week I would add a little baby molded out of beeswax and a little walnut shell cradle and add that. And another tradition that comes out of Waldorf education, a beautiful festival that's celebrated this time of year, sometimes called an Advent spiral. Sometimes some schools call it the Garden of Light or the Winter Garden. And if you haven't seen it, let me describe it for you. A large spiral of evergreen branches will be laid out in a spiral formation on the floor or on the ground. This festival is usually performed indoors, but I've also seen it performed outdoors, where you can make an even bigger spiral. Now at the center of that spiral will be one large lit candle, And usually the festival is performed in the early evening or at dusk, and families will enter the room quietly, and it's very dark except for the one candle burning at the center. And there might be quiet music, there might be people singing very quietly, or a harp playing, or acoustic music played quietly. And then one by one the children will be invited to walk the spiral individually. And as they enter, they're handed an apple with a candle in it, like this one. And the child will take his apple and make the journey all the way inward to the center and light his candle from that central candle, and then ever so carefully carry the apple back outward through the spiral. But along the way, we'll choose a spot along the spiral to set down his candle and complete the journey outward. And one by one the children will do this. And the room, which was very dark when everyone entered, becomes brighter and brighter with light until the end. The room is just glowing with warmth and light, all originating from this one candle. And parents and teachers, the community and children may all sing together a song or a carol before they leave, and then leave quietly to return home. It's a beautiful festival, and you don't have to be part of a Waldorf school to participate. I know many, many families who choose to celebrate this festival on their own, to gather their friends and children, families together at this time of year. You can do it outdoors, or if you have a large room, a church or a barn, you can do this yourself, and I really invite you to. You want to have lots of buckets of water nearby. In many, many years of watching this festival, we've never had a mishap, but you do want to be prepared and careful. But it's a time of year too, with these darkening days, for all of us to look inward and reflect and find that inner light within and bring that out into the world, that love and joy, and radiate it out into the world. So, thanks for joining me this week. I would love to hear, what are your traditions? What festivals do you celebrate this time of year? What holidays do you observe? How do you incorporate children into your traditions? Please share your ideas here. If you have any questions about anything I spoke about today, leave them here. And I just want to take a minute to thank all of you for the comments you left after last week's episode, video number 1 of my new series here at Moonchild. You gave me some great ideas, topics to talk about going forward. I can't wait to tackle all of them. And thank you again. Warm wishes. See you next week. Thank you.